Hey, this is Jonathan, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different because of something I said yesterday. So first things first, actually. Someone who's been working on Amethyst actually got in touch with me this morning, and they asked me to look at the proposal for the official support for tilemaps. And yeah, it looks like they're really getting things going there. They haven't decided on a final design yet. Someone's proposed like 5 different designs and is trying to push one of the 5. He's pushing the third one, and it seems like there's a bunch of discussion happening there. It's pretty exciting. They're covering a lot of things that I haven't really thought about yet. So yeah, and they're also trying to be more general. They're also trying to be able to support like tile mapping for voxel-based games, and that's sort of outside of the scope of the kind of things that I've been working on. But yeah, it's really cool stuff. I'm glad I was invited to go and look at the thread and give some input, but right now I don't think I don't really have much input to give. I think what people have suggested already, it seems like they're making good progress and they're pushing things in the right directions. You know, trying to generate some discussion and throw some ideas out there. I don't really have any great ideas myself, so yeah, that's all I have to say about that. The other thing that I want to talk about is what I'm going to do here. So this is all going to be experimental. As you can see, I already have the library that I want open right here. It's called Frunk. It's a functional programming library. And what I think this might actually be able to do for me is... Okay, yeah, we can just do this. Excellent. What are you complaining about? Nothing. Okay. What I want to do with Frunk is I want to try using HList for some of these, some of the more complicated cases that they showed off in the Prefabs section of the Amethyst book. So one of the examples that they had was, I'm just going to run this to get the dependency loaded or downloaded. One of the examples that they had was a character named Zero who has a weapon called Sword, and a sword is not the same as a player, but you can't really have, you know, 2 different prefab entities, or like 2 different types for your prefab entities. So what I was seeing was everything was kind of bundled into a prefab data struct, and then you had optional fields, and then you kind of opt into each field if you want certain things. So we can imagine this as being like sort of a matrix, you know, like I want like for the player character I might want a position, I might want a name, and then maybe there's a damage field, but I don't want that. And for the sword, I might say, no, I don't want a position, no, I don't want a name, but I do want like a damage value. And if you have more and more different objects that are like compositions of these different components, then eventually you get this big grid, but it's probably going to be pretty sparse. There's going to be like maybe a few of those things are picked out for one entity, and a few things picked out for another entity, and a few things picked out for yet another entity. So what I was thinking was maybe we could just try... Okay, what am I doing? I don't need to do that. I've got Frunk now. Maybe we could try and solve that problem in a different way. And this is entirely experimental. I don't expect to actually get anywhere with this, because obviously I imagine someone's already tried this before, and maybe it's not very ergonomic, shall we say, to actually use this technique. But I'm going to Frunk here because it has a it has a struct called HList, and as the name might suggest, it's a heterogeneous list. It's the same thing as Scala's shapeless libraries HList. They just kind of ported over a lot of that stuff here to Rust. But yeah, Frunk is a fairly experimental library. But it has some really neat tools in it that you don't normally see being used. Like HList, when are you going to use HList? Usually people say they use these kinds of things for like building libraries. In this case, I feel like Frunk might actually be useful for modeling more complex prefab data. So we're going to look at the book. We're going to try and emulate what they had there, but we're going to try using doing it with HList instead. So I'm not really confident that this is going to actually work, even because they seem to want to use macros to instantiate HList, and well, I can't use macros in the oh god, look at this. Well, that's because we don't have variadic generics. That's kind of unfortunate. Nope, they had to do this. Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. Gosh, what was I trying to say? I don't know. I don't have macros in RON files, though. So that's the biggest limitation there is here. And I'm not sure if there's any way I could possibly get around that. Ooh, is this actually real? It is! You can hcons. Oh. Well, that's a function call. It's not a struct, but maybe I could do something with that? I don't know. See, I have ideas, but nothing concrete. Yeah, and then there's hnil. So we'll try and do a bunch of like hcons, hnil. See if we can even construct that. And if I can do that much, then maybe we'll actually have something. I don't know. So I guess first off, I'm going to try and insert an HList right here. So we're going to use Frunk's hcons and Greg? No. Can you imagine if Greg was, you know, an actual feature of the language? I don't even know how that would work. I guess it'd be Christmas in July. So hcons, hnil. Let's give this a try. Hcons. So it should take a head, which will be, I don't know, 32. And it'll have a tail. And this one will be hnil. I don't know how well this works at all. But I have to try and compile this and see if it does anything. Obviously, this isn't the most ergonomic way you can work with hcons. I think it's pretty obvious just looking at this thing. But I have to try. If there was some kind of like syntactic sugar you could use in the RON files, then like maybe it could actually be pretty viable, possibly. But I feel like this would work as an alternative to the existing vector implementation, and you can just kind of insert it in there. Okay, so that worked. Kind of surprised, but it worked. Let's go crazy. Let's go another layer in. We're gonna use a string this time. Maybe not a string. Let's go true boolean. Tail h nil. What? Did I not do that? How about this? No? Doesn't like that. Some fields are missing. Are they? Because I don't think they are. Yeah, there we go. So what kind of methods do you get on HList anyway? I'm kind of curious. Yeah, let's go look at the HList here. So they can build an HList like that. And then convert to tuple. Pattern matching. To traverse. Huh, okay. So you can pop. But you can't like do a for. Oh, you can fold. Okay, that's interesting. So you are allowed to fold. You can map over them. Okay. But you can't like for each them. Very interesting. I don't know how mapping would work. Oh, you provide a different closure for each argument type. Fascinating. So it isn't really all that different from having a tuple, because you're not really iterating over everything. It's more like you're just like doing a map on each of the things with the function of the correct type for each of the things. Still though, that's not bad. You could certainly use that to what would that allow us to do exactly? I'm not sure. I'll be honest, I'm not sure. But it looks like it could work. I'll have to play with this a bit more. I might actually just keep this, because, well, I haven't decided entirely yet how this is all going to work, but it seems pretty cool. Like, I feel like this will work with the thing. The thing that I was looking at a few seconds ago. Yeah, that thing. Well, that's a pretty big maybe, because the type is, well, yeah, if you have a collection of HLists, is that going to work? I'm not sure. Okay, let's go look at that Amethyst book and see how that looks. Let's look at this multiple components, or multiple entities, different components. Here we go. The prefab is declared like so. So yeah, we have custom prefab data, like 0, sword, position. Yeah. Okay. This is kind of crazy, but I think it could potentially work. It might just work. It does need to implement prefab data, but it might just work. I guess the problem is h nil is at the leaf level. Is it? Yeah, it would be at the leaf level. Oh, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm allowed to implement prefab data on HList. I'm pretty sure that violates some kind of like coherence rule, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not about to just like give up. I'm not gonna just throw in the towel because that doesn't look like it will work. I'm gonna actually have to try it. And I can't just do this derive components, sadly. It's not that just doesn't exist. Can't do that. Yeah. So prefab data, custom prefab data looks like this, and there's a bunch of optional fields. Gosh, you know, I think it might work. It might work. It could work. Could it work? I don't know. Maybe. Would it be crazy if I could make it work? Oh wait, I don't have the definition of HCons, so I can't just derive. Let's see. Rust. Derive trait for type. Crate type? I don't know. I don't think this is something that you're allowed to do. Let me see. Remote derive, wow. Okay. If you write functions which only depend on existing traits, it's more likely that structs from external crates will have implemented them. Nice. Okay, so this is not something that... Coherence rules. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so I already see that. So it looks like this isn't doable unless I create my own HList. Which, looking at the definition for the HCons and HList and everything, it's not really looking too hot there. Not really looking like a good solution. So that's kind of unfortunate. Let's look at the book again. So anything that appears here has to implement prefab data, huh? Well, yeah. I mean, weapon had to implement it. Position did. Player definitely does. Pretty sure. Like, if I look up here, well, I see player, position. Yeah, I see position. What about player, though? Yeah, player also implements prefab data. Okay, so this isn't actually doable. It was worth a shot, I feel. Yeah, but this just violates coherence rules, so I personally can't do it. But maybe if someone modded, or like, you know, I could also just do the thing that this person was doing wherever. That's kind of unfortunate though about the whole prefab data thing. So you cannot implement a trait on an external struct. Is there anything that people will say down here that will actually no, there's nothing that'll actually fix this. No, there's no okay, got it. So there are reasons why this is considered bad. Is there a workaround? New type. Well, okay. So we're not entirely screwed. Not entirely. So you're saying there's a chance. So we could use new type. Oh, I'm so tempted. I am really tempted. You know I want to. You know I'm gonna want to do this. I really do want to do this. Do I actually really want to do this though? I don't know. Seems kind of dangerous. We're doing it. We're doing it. You know I was gonna do it. You know I had to do it to him. I'm gonna call it my H-cons. Let's go. Let's. Come on, we have to bite the bullet. If you don't bite the bullet, what are you living for? You ain't living if you ain't dying. That's what I always say. Let's do this. Probably should pub these. Not that it really matters. Type parameters. Oh no. Expected to found 0. Ooh. How about A and B? Let's give those to this guy. A and B. Now what? Now what did I do wrong? Show me. Nothing. Nothing's wrong? Okay. Interesting. Will I be able to do the derives, though? That's the real question. Can I derive stuff for this thing that has these generics on it? Part of me feels like maybe I should just move this stuff to the prefabs folder module thing. Probably a good idea. Let's do that. And we're gonna move you over there. Move, I say, as like just copy, but you get what I mean. I want to see if this works. Obviously, the IntelliJ is not going to be able to catch this right now, but I want to see if this actually can work at all. If it works, I'm going to be incredibly surprised, and also that would be super cool. How's this gonna work? I didn't really think about this. How's this gonna work? Because everything inside needs to implement prefab data, doesn't it? So if I just wrap this and then I try to like stick it into the... Huh. What if I did a type alias? It seems like such a hack. And also, I'm pretty sure you can't do this for type aliases, so no, that also doesn't work. That's dumb. Oh, but like, I'm so close, dude. So they do a new type. Pair wrapper on the foreign struct, and since this wrapper is completely different, yeah, you're free to do whatever for it. Similar to that you absolutely don't need to re-implement the type from scratch. You won't be able to call all methods of some struct on my some struct. You must either forward all methods you want or unwrap the inner value. Okay. Deref. Yeah. The deref anti-pattern. Seems like no matter where you go, no matter what language you use, you can't get away from anti-patterns. Like, there'll always be a way to write code in a bad way. No one will ever be able to fix that problem, it seems. You can't prevent bad code completely ever. I guess that is pretty subjective too, though. Because if you were to like formally define like what is bad code, then like maybe. Anyway, we're gonna throw in some stuff here, like I don't know. Name, maybe like a string. How do they define their player character? I didn't even look at that, because their player is named 0. I just want to make sure that I've seen named. Huh, okay. Alright, yeah, I don't know. They don't define this anywhere. So I actually don't know. That's interesting. Well, I hope that it will serialize it as an owned string, because that's what I want. I want it to be owned. I also don't know if any of this will work at all. It's pretty unlikely. Like I said, we gotta try. Alright, so location.ron. We're going to try doing HLists instead. So let's try and sort of mimic the structure that they have in here. They have custom prefab data, and inside of that they have fields. Like, so this would be head and tail, and then like head would be whatever, and tail would be whatever. Very, very low chance that any of this will work, but I have to try. Yeah, alright. So no custom prefab data. We're just going to go with HLists, or HCons. Or my HCons, I'm sorry. My HCons. It's going to be well, we're going to keep this eventually, but there's going to be a head. Actually, no, there's not going to be a head. Because my HCons is a tuple struct, isn't it? Tuple structs don't have named fields, so that sucks. I kind of want the names because they just make this easier for me to see, so I'm just going to make that a regular. I'm going to promote this to a regular struct. And I'm gonna promote this to regular struct too. Just because I suck. It's true. Alright, there we go. Perfect. Okay, not perfect. Now it's perfect. Alright, so I have these structs here. Let's make this easier to read. Doing that. We're going to try and put an HList together in location. Here's where I think everything will fall apart. Because I'm going to throw in a head on this guy. And that'll be a was checked. Oh, how was this defined originally? I actually don't remember now. Was it item location, right? I'm pretty sure it was item location. The item location is the one that has yeah, item location. I guess I should define another thing here, like, I don't know, name thing, named thing, shows a name, that'll be name. Yeah, that's okay. I'm alright with that. Ooh, my, I just realized I'm gonna have to change. Huh. Okay, this is getting complicated because I do have a system that's supposed to run. Yeah, there's a prefab loader system. If that prefab loader system sees that one of the nested things isn't a prefab data, it's gonna explode, isn't it? I'm so certain of that. It's really unfortunate though, because it's like so close to a good solution. Or at least what I think would be a nice solution. I don't know. There's so many parentheses, I don't even know anymore. That actually lines up perfectly. So we have my hcons, which wraps in hcons, and in that hcons we just have a single element. And the head of that element is this item location. The tail is just going to be empty. It's just going to be hnil. Nothing that like wraps hnil, basically. I have no idea. Like, I'm super not confident in this at all. Yeah, because I have to change this now as well to hcons, or like my hcons? My hcons. Yeah. And then it has to like recursively go down into it. Like, I don't know, dude. That seems pretty sketch. Seems like it would not work at all. I have very, very, very low expectations. Yeah, it seems pretty sketch. I really don't think this is gonna work. Prefabs, where's prefabs? It's in play. Oh yeah, that's so deep. We'll go my hcons. Yeah, there we go. And it's gonna have to like build an HList out of all that too. Just realized. This is so screwed up. That's so not working. That so doesn't work. It requires type parameters. So I have to specify all the types up front anyway. Yeah, okay. I see where this goes. Where everything falls apart, because now I have to specify all the possible types that everything can be, anyways. Which I mean, that's not the worst thing in the world, I think. Except I can only do it for the first layer. That only works for the first layer. And then after that, everything just kind of falls apart. I guess, yeah, what comes first is an item location, and then the other part is an HNil. Pretty sure. What are you complaining about? Use spec expected. What? Okay, it's gone now. It's gone. We're good. Until this thing doesn't compile. Which it probably won't. No. It's not implemented for HCons. Okay, that's what I thought. We're not able to do this because of this. I'm glad I exhausted this. I took it to its extreme. Or at least almost extreme. I guess if for some weird reason Frunk were ever to be incorporated into Amethyst, and they... No, but still that wouldn't work because that's external. Can you? Well, actually maybe, because they have control of prefab data. It's not an external trait. It's an internal trait, but you can attach it to an external... Yeah, maybe. You might be able to derive... Well, no. Well... Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that works. I think the coherence rules only disallow, like, external traits on external structs, right? I don't know if they ban internal trait on external struct. But anyway, that's wishful thinking. That's going like, oh, I hope Amethyst adds HLists to their thing and, you know, and implements prefab data for it or something. And even if they did, I don't know how much benefit you'd get out of it. Because, okay, let's say, for example, that it was nice and clean, or there wasn't on my HCons here. How might this end up looking? Well, now I have to be explicit here. And I have to say, okay, well, I have an HCons of an item location and HCons of... I don't know. If I wanted to nest HCons, then the next item might have been like a named thing. And then the next part would have been HNil. And the problem here now is, well, like, this is fine and all. Up until the point where you want to define a second entity that isn't going to be just, you know, item location and named thing. What if it just you only want item location, or what if you only want named thing? Then you run into the exact same problem. So yeah, HCons isn't going to work here. You need this is actually a limitation of yeah, being statically typed, I think. Not even HList can save you. in this case. So yeah, prefab data seems like it's the only option that actually works, which is pretty unfortunate. I wonder if you could have done it differently if you were using like JavaScript or something, because then you'd have like you'd have like free dynamic typing, and that's what they basically want with these prefabs. At least not this in this like prefab file. Like, you want to be able to do something like just say, okay, this entity has these parts and this entity has these parts, and then you know that it only has those parts, or you know that this one only has those parts, and you don't have to define like a prefab data and do like the optionality stuff, like some none, that kind of thing. Like, ideally you don't have to do that, but unfortunately the current API forces exactly that. And there's not too much we can really do because of that. So anyway, just very unfortunate things. I guess the only way that this could really be fixed... Is there a way to fix this? Well, maybe if we only had one list, you know? And the first item in the list was your first prefab that you wanted to create. The next item in the list was the next prefab you wanted to create. And the next item was the next prefab you wanted to create. Then that could work, actually. Yeah, you know, actually that could work. So, like, what I was showing here, down at the bottom, with the HCons and this item location name thing, yeah, if I wanted to have a item location, and I wanted to have a named thing, yeah, this could work. This, I wouldn't mind this. Like, having to be explicit about each element going to this thing. I don't think it'd be that awful, honestly. I mean, you could even like separate them out like this, because you know that, okay, well, you might get some right word drift there. Maybe that's undesirable, but you could just do this, you know, like you don't no one's forcing you to press the space bar or anything. It is a little bit unfortunate that the IDE itself tries to like push you towards the right, but you know, like this could have worked, you know. We could have had it all, but we can't. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. I feel like this might have been the way to go. This could have done something cool. I might do a POC of this later. Like, I don't know how that would work exactly, but like I absolutely must have prefab data on HCons in order for any of this stuff to work. I'm really tempted though. I am very tempted to try this out, because I really feel like it could work. Like, we just have the HCons, and then this first item will be whatever prefab. It could be like the player one, and this one would be like the sword. Like, doesn't that just make so much more sense though? I think it makes a lot of sense. And then after that, I don't know how like ergonomic it would be to play with that HList prefab thing, monstrosity. But at least you would have, like, you'd statically have, or yeah, you'd statically know that each of these things doesn't, you know, you don't have all those like options and stuff. You don't have that like that matrixy kind of thing happening. So that is incredibly tempting. Should I pursue this? Because it would be possible for me to just clone Frunk and take a look at how they implement their HList and HCons and all that stuff. Implement prefab data for those things. And see if it actually allows me to do that, for one thing. And then just try rolling with it like what we have here. See if I can even make this happen. Because yeah, I have a feeling that it could work. Like we could actually do something here. And we would actually have a solution, like a real working solution to this custom prefab data problem of this none thing here. Oh, oops! I don't want to go there to that page. So this entity would only have position and player, and then this entity would only have position and sword. We wouldn't have these nuns. So yeah, these are things that I am thinking about, and that's probably it for today. I don't really have any more time to explore this. This was good though. I like what I'm seeing here. I think that this approach does actually show some promise, but yeah, the coherence rules are they're a big pain in the butt. They're causing issues. Let's read what else there is here. Trait bound, yeah, the trait bound one. Trait bound, yeah, that again. And that again, yeah, okay, cool. So it is literally just these trait bounds that are not being satisfied. I'll pick this up again tomorrow, I think, after I download Frunk and basically stick Frunk into the project, or at least the HList part of Frunk into the project, and yeah, and then I'll just throw prefab data on it. Seems kind of hacky, but if we had that, I think Amethyst's prefab loading stuff would actually be a lot better. Just a thought.